Say Halloween. Say Halloween.
That
Hey,
just brought me back to kindergarten. Do you remember
I
kindergarten
know.
class and you're celebrating Halloween in
Yes.
French?
Yeah, and if you didn't celebrate Halloween with the Say Halloween song, you might not be from the Ottawa Valley, which is everything we're talking about
Wasn't
today.
it like the Le Petit Ananas, the littlest pineapple or whatever?
I'm dead.
Do you remember him?
I vaguely remember the little pineapple.
If you guys
He's there. He's in my memory somewhere. I don't know where, but
if you guys are only tuning in via podcast, we highly recommend hop onto YouTube because you can see the shit show. Not only are you going to see us, like Chantel is some like witchy Viking witch thing.
Witchy Viking witch thing. I can't.
I am a vampire. And so you guys know this will probably stain my face for a week. So
yes, we discovered very quickly that the fake blood stains just like real blood.
Yep. So here we are.
So that's fun.
Full haunting glam for you. And we have video. This video is going to, you're going to laugh. You're going to see some shit and might fucking freak you out a little bit.
We saw some shit on our trip. We experienced some things that you need to be a part of that just aren't up for debate. I mean, I guess they are up for debate because you weren't there. But guys, we found what we were looking for. I mean, we did not find the Catholic pioneer burial ground we were looking for in the first segment, but we did almost get hit by a train. So you're going to want to see that IRL.
And you know what? If you don't give a fuck about Halloween, tune in just to see Chantel piss her pants.
Because that happened.
And we ran.
There was a train. We were being like run down by a Via Rail passenger train. It was not like, this is not a small thing that happened. This was major. We almost died.
We took video of our entire day going through old towns. We found some cool shit. We want to share that with you. And if you've never been to any of these small communities in the valley, this is your chance to have a little sneaky peeky.
Yes. Yeah. Please tune in. In the meantime, if you're not tuning in, if you're driving or you're grocery shopping, or speaking of grocery shopping, on another podcast I listened to on the social media page, a bunch of people are like, oh yeah, I listen to you guys when I'm grocery shopping. And I was like, I don't listen to podcasts when I'm grocery shopping.
I think it would
Do you listen to podcasts when you're grocery shopping?
I was listening to the Exorcism Files yesterday, broad daylight, and I had to shut it off.
Because it was so scary.
And I never get spooked. And I was like, nope, got to shut this down for a minute. I'm going through it.
Is that candle behind me going to light my wall on fire?
No, I don't think so. Looks fine. Is mine? No. Okay. Shall we? Is there anything else we need to discuss before we get into this?
No, you know what? I think we need to just go to town. I think we need to just dive right in because we have some stories for you. Today's episode is a compilation of stories from the Ottawa Valley, which is where Ashley and I are both from, where we both grew up. And we want to tell you about 3 stories that have deep roots in the Ottawa Valley.
Now, before we get into this story that I'm going to start with takes place in Wilno, which is a small Polish settlement community, the very first Polish settlement in Canada. It is sweet and quaint and to the untrained eye, almost a little too peaceful, I would say.
It's very quiet.
But really, for generations, locals have whispered about something very dark. To the point that paranormal investigators from all over the world have visited this place. It was featured on Unsolved Mysteries. So, like, this just isn't little whispers here and then. Like, this is stories that carried over from the old country, from Poland, where villagers spoke of something very eerie. What that was the Stashiga.
Very good.
It's spelt not like
Because,
that.
guys, it's not spelled Stashiga.
That's how it's pronounced from Poland, I suppose. And we're doing the best we can.
Really?
Now, if you don't know what the Stashiga is, it is a creature that feeds on the living, a vampire, my friends.
Dear.
Now, while most people have chalked these tales up to folklore, Wilno's history has a very, very interesting way of blurring the line between myth and reality. And you will see why as we get into this, because this just isn't a story about an old wives' tale. This is about death, real, brutal, and really has carried through generations.
I'm ready.
Now, we are going to peel back the layers of this sleepy little town, its faith, its folklore, and the blood that runs through it. Because in Wilno, the monsters might not just be stories, my friends.
Bum, bum, bum.
When you drive into Wilno, the first thing you're going to see is basically this untouched old environment. The wooden crosses are all throughout the hillsides. And it is eerie. Like when you start seeing, and we did take video and we will post those, you're driving down side roads and there are just wooden crosses on every corner.
Everywhere.
There's this white church standing proudly in the heart of the town. There are faded Polish flags hanging from porches, and like they're weathered, and it's really interesting to me because you can almost feel the history pouring out of this place.
And we have to be clear here. I mean, I'm 38. Ash is in her 40s. This town has not changed for as long as we can remember.
No.
Ever. There's never, from if I was 4 years old driving through Wilno or I'm 38 driving through Wilno, it looks exactly the same.
And there's something so peaceful about that, knowing you can go to Wilno and it will always remain untouched.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So Wilno was founded in the 1850s by Polish immigrants who had fled political unrest and poverty in Eastern Europe. They brought with them the strength of their faith and the fears that shaped it. So in the old villages of Poland, people didn't separate religion from superstition. They believed both at once. So in Poland, in these older communities, especially way back then, you lived with your faith and your superstitions. It was like intertwined into the community. The settlers believed that things science couldn't explain. So they whispered of curses and spirits that walked among them, and of the Strashiga, an undead being said to rise from their graves at night with a hunger for blood. So when we think vampire folklore, things like that, really, it all kind of started in Poland, which I love that. I love that we were able to go to a place untouched by years and years, and those beliefs and folklore still ring true to this day.
And we see in every culture these recurring themes, these recurring monsters, which has always led me to believe, because before there was the internet, before there was even travel, if every single culture in the world has a monster that is a blood-sucking creature, there's something to
Absolutely.
that.
Yes.
There has to be.
And I think that they have very much like pumped the tires of zombies and vampires and these unearthly demons and things like that in Hollywood. But the truth is, they came from somewhere. And
Well, exactly.
I truly believe that these beings or spirits or entities do exist. And I want to kind of talk about what happens in Wilno because it's heavy. So the word Stashiga roughly translates to vampire. But the legends were far more complex. Some believed that these vampires were born from a child with two souls.
Ruh-roh.
Or someone who died unbaptized.
Okay.
keeping in mind we're combining the faith and we're combining the folklore here.
Mm-hmm.
The early Wilno settlers feared these things enough that even their burial practices reflected it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Chantal and I visited an old Polish burial ground,
Yeah.
and we saw exactly what I'm about to explain to you.
Mm-hmm.
Graves were sometimes blessed twice, sealed with iron crosses, or they were buried face down. The reason they would bury their dead face down was because they believed they could only climb in one direction. So whatever way they're facing, that's the way. So they were hoping, just keep climbing down. Maybe you'll reach China, but don't come here. Now, one of the other things that you will see throughout this video that we're going to show you is that they believed that if you placed sand over top of the casket or the body, lots of rocks, things like this, it would take thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years for the vampire to come through, because vampires need to count everything, which is the
Mm-hmm.
folklore. So the idea was, if we put sand, that vampire is going to have to count all the grains of sand before it can come out. So it was like,
Before it can come out. Yeah.
that's right. Some places would do like these little woven almost nets with thousands of knots.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they would say they could only count one knot a year. So that was kind of how they protected themselves from the fear of these vampires.
And let me tell you, arriving at this gravesite, at this graveyard, and seeing all of the older graves that have, and you'll see in our video, these white little tiny stones all over them.
Yeah.
It was so eerie, and the energy there was just so different.
It's the most ominous place you could probably visit in Canada. In the isolation of the Canadian wilderness, we have this beautiful Polish settlement tucked into a forest. And you'll see when we're walking through this, there's a forest all around it.
Mm-hmm.
The winters are brutal there, but these beliefs, I guess, because keeping in mind in the 1850s, there was no highway to Wilno. There was no gas stations near Wilno. It was just this very isolated community. And in small communities, as we know, folklores, beliefs, they fester. So as time goes on, people begin to talk about lights flickering in the woods at night, or footsteps crunching in the snow when no one was there, of livestock found completely drained of blood come morning. Some people laughed it off, but others were like, no, we know what this is. We had this in Poland. Now it's come here. So there was almost a panic in the community of Wilno, because superstition wasn't a hobby. Like, these people were painting their doors. They believed that the dead could rise, and that if a body wasn't buried just right, or if a sinner was left unblessed, they would come back hungry.
Which, I mean, can you imagine, okay, so the baker down the street dies, okay? And the whole town goes to his funeral because that's just what you did. And you come home from the funeral and like your husband's like, do you think they put him down deep enough? And then it starts and you're like, well, I don't know. Did they put him down deep enough? Did they put enough stones over his grave? What do we have to do? Do we have to bless the house? Do we have to, like, what are we doing to protect ourselves from the baker who's going to come up out of the ground and eat us?
Right?
I don't know.
Mr. Rakowski's coming to get us.
Yeah, honestly.
So the thing about Wilno was, at one point, there was a strange sickness that swept through this village. People were pale, weak, drained, and no doctor could explain it.
No.
Whole ass families were dying. At night, candles were placed in windows to ward off what the locals called the old blood. They believed vampires could only enter if they were invited. So homes stayed locked, crucifixes hung on every door, and mirrors were turned to face the wall when someone died. So their spirit wouldn't see itself and come back. Now, some graves in this cemetery were even found with wooden or iron spikes driven into the coffin
Oof.
because they were like, we're not fucking around. People at night would be like, no, we got to get rid of this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And you will find if you ever have the amazing opportunity to visit this place, a lot of the grave sites are surface level.
I know, I was super disturbed at how many graves were out of the ground.
Yeah, yeah. And like, so while some were up, others had stones placed under the tongue or a
Mhm,
sharp kind of, so you'll see almost an outline of where the
mhm,
coffin would be.
mhm.
And then they would place the stones over top. They would also sometimes put stones in and under
Just extra insurance there.
just in case. It's like that
Yeah,
last little piece of like, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Now, if you do go through the Wilno Cemetery, and we did take a lot of pretty cool videos walking through here, there is a stillness.
Yeah.
This feels wrong to me. There is something almost watching you as you walk through, and I very much felt that.
I felt as soon as we pulled up, the energy shifted for 100%. And I use humor to get through stressful situations in my life. It's just the way that I cope. But I couldn't even do that. It
No.
was almost as although I felt at ease and peaceful because it's beautiful. Like we went out on a beautiful October afternoon. The sun was shining. It was gorgeous. It's a beautiful location. Despite that, there was this uneasiness that I had within me that made it so that very little of my humor was even able to come out of my mouth.
Mhm.
Mhm.
100%. Um,
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I've heard over and over again, and I cross-referenced this online multiple times, was that locals say that sometimes when the fog rolls down from the hills, because there are these massive hills surrounding Wilno, you can actually see figures walking between the graves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
multiple witnesses have shared their accounts of this. A lot of people have said they see something walking in and out of the trees. So it's very interesting.
Mhm. I
The old
believe all of
Yeah,
this.
100%. Okay, just one second. Just pause for a sec. So we'll know also, as I'm telling you this, because there are a couple more layers to this story before we get into our next story, they don't like talking about it. So you don't go to
Mm.
Wilno and say, hey, I'm here to look for the Wilno vampires. They shut it down
No.
right away. There used to be a bar. I don't think it was the tavern, but I believe it was another small little bar, and they used to offer a drink called what was it? The vampire shot. It was basically run out of the town. Like they don't talk
Mhm.
about it. It's like very, and local historians will tell you that vampire stories are simple fragments of Polish folklore. And some claim to have seen pale figures near the cemetery at night. And some swear they have heard scratching at their windows at nighttime.
Also, I just have to say, there's a house right in front of this cemetery, and I want it. I need to live there. I don't know.
I
I'm
also
not
love
sure
that
what
house.
I am doing with my life that I don't live in that house, but
I
can
know.
you imagine what that family sees and hears?
Well, ironically enough, Chantal, this isn't just folklore because in the 1970s, a young
Mm.
scholar named Jan Perkowski arrived in Wilno, kind of curious about this folklore. And
Okay.
it's Polish Kashub settlers. So he listened to their stories. He was really intrigued because all of a sudden, these people are talking about vampires, witches, and restless spirits. And these are stories everyone in this community is talking about. This isn't just one or two people, everyone. In his research, vampires, dwarves, and witches among the Ontario Kashubs was published in 1972 by the National Museum of Man. Now, the National Museum of Man is now the National Museum, what is it? The Canadian, what's the museum we have here?
We have so many.
Okay. It's okay. I'll go back. His research, vampires, dwarves, and witches among the Ontario Kashubs, was published in 1972 by the National Museum of Man. It caused an uproar
Mm.
because newspapers are running these headlines about Canadian vampires, and this small community is being like bombarded by news people,
Mhm.
researchers, like just curious cats like ourselves.
Mhm.
Everyone's flocking there because, like, what the fuck are you talking about? The
Mhm.
controversy grew so heated that the matter was actually brought before the Canadian House of Commons, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And members of parliament debated whether taxpayer money should be spent studying vampires.
As part of my job, I need to tune into question period every day. Do you know how happy I would be if something on the docket was vampires?
You're
I
like,
would be like,
well,
finally,
right?
something I actually want to listen to.
Seriously.
Man.
So I'm curious if anyone out there listening has ever experienced anything, been to Wilno, because there is folklore that walks through this area, and we have
Mhm.
more tales about this area.
We
Not
sure
just,
do.
yeah, it's not just about the vampires and the witches and things like that. But I want to know, were these people just superstitious and paranoid, or do you think there's some truth to it? Because to me, maybe three people seeing something or hearing something or knowing something deep in their heart is one thing. But when you have an entire fucking community, something is going on.
Yeah, and you're changing how you bury people. You're changing how people live their lives in their own homes. There's something there.
I would suggest if you're ever driving alone through Wilno at night, don't stop.
No,
If you meet
I would
somebody,
not do that.
I would, but we know me.
I know. And when you see our video, guys, you'll see that Ashley does not fear the woods at night,
No.
although she definitely should.
Yes. I
Yes.
figure if my time comes, guys, and it's fucking like maybe bears, okay, but fuck it. Because if I find what I'm looking for in those woods, I will die a happy woman. If it happens that day, you know what? Put it down
That's
in
fine.
history as the idiot that fucking lost her life hunting ghosts.
Yeah, that's
I'm here
fine.
for
You're
it.
good with that. On that note, and to segue into our next story, the other more popular, more spoken about lore surrounding Wilno is the story of Buck.
Bum bum bum.
So let's get into it. They call it Buck Hill, a skinny ribbon of dirt road somewhere between Wilno and the deep quiet of Round Lake, where the trees lean in a little too close and the dark feels thicker than it should. The story is simple, and that's what makes it stick. A little girl went missing in a winter storm in the 1800s. Her father, a logger, grabbed his lantern and went out after her. He searched the road. He searched the bush. He searched until the cold took the feeling from his hands and some say from his mind. He never found her and he never stopped looking, not even after he died. People say that's why on certain nights, lone light drifts along Buck Hill Road, swaying, pausing, then moving on, as if he's still sweeping the trees with a lantern, calling a name he can't bear to give up. If you ask the locals how to see it, they'll tell you there's a ritual, because of course there's a ritual.
Always a ritual.
You pull your car to the turnaround on the hill at the top, face back the way you came, and flash your headlights 3 times. If nothing happens, some swear you should call into the dark in a childish voice,
Daddy.
Daddy, 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Then you wait, because apparently grief recognizes the sound of a child better than anything else. Reports claim a baseball-sized glow, green, white, or orange, rises or slides across the road bright enough to silver the trunks before it winks out like someone cupped a hand over the flame. Now, y'all, we seen it.
We saw it and we got it. We got it on
We got
film.
it. It's not like documentary level video because it was dark AF.
Mm-hmm.
But It was so funny too, because I was so convinced it was a car.
Yes.
And when you see the video, you too may be like, that's a car. But here's what you need to understand. Where the light is coming from, there is no road there. There's no road.
There's no possible way for... What is that?
It's just a car outside.
No. Can you check your flame behind your head, please? Can you bring it out a little? I'm looking at this and I'm like, that flame is getting bigger and bigger.
I just lit the stairs on fire.
Suddenly the house fucking lights behind you. I'm
Matt
like,
would be so fucking mad. He'd be like, bitch, no more fucking podcasting for you.
Okay. Sorry.
It can't possibly be a car. Here's the thing. So the road, first of all, in order to get to the point where we're flashing the lights and calling the daddy, you're 20 minutes driving, like winding roads up and down all over the place into the thickest bush you can imagine. And I am going to share a photo so that you can fully comprehend there are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of acres of dense bush around us.
Are we going to talk about the thing that happened?
Yes, definitely. We're just not going to share the photos of the driver's license.
So just before dusk hit, we went into the bush quite far. We're walking and we're exploring before pitch black hits, because let me tell you, when you're on Buck Hill, it is pitch of the black.
The blackest.
You can't see your hand.
No, we don't know darkness like this. No.
So we're walking and we're looking and we're like, there are people coming towards us. So
no, you excuse me. How it really went down is we thought we saw a bear or heard a bear, and we were all freaking out. And then I look up the trailhead and I see people, and I'm like paranoid that they're not actually people, and it's just a figment of my imagination. I'm like, do you see people there? So
as we come closer, now I have this fuck off stick that I grabbed. Chantel's holding a rock. You'll see us.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. But anyway.
Acting a fool. Yeah.
I'm tripping on fucking branches. Like it was a whole thing. There's 4 adults and 1 baby.
Baby. 2 years old.
2-year-old baby.
She's in a windbreaker.
It's
no
cold.
Mitts, no hat, little tiny shoes.
She's holding a stick too. So I'm like, okay. They say nothing to us. They don't acknowledge us. I think the one man just kind of gave us a hi, and they didn't want anything to do with us. And the little girl was looking at me and I said, I have a stick too. And it was a very strange attraction to me because I know I'm a mom. You'll actually get glimpses for the first time now that she's an adult of my offspring joined us. She was our videographer. And you're going to see my kid for the first time. I'm letting her be seen. So fuck around and find out. This is the most cherished thing in my world, and I will burn down the world. So don't. Yeah. So we head to the other side of the trail because we're like, this family doesn't want to see our bullshit. Like we're about to call on all the spirits. We've got spirit boxes going. We've got sage. We're thinning the veil. We're going hard. Yeah. So we go to the other side and darkness falls. Now, when we came out of the thick bush where we were back onto the road, there was a van there. They had driven a van up, which made sense because you wouldn't be coming from anywhere. You're just not appearing in the middle of the bush. No, hello. No. It would take like hours to walk to where we were. So we go to the other side and we start doing our shit, and darkness falls. Now we have lights, we have candles, we've got all the things going on. And we come back to the road after a little while, after I got super spooked, and the van is still there. So they're still in the bush, and it is pitch fucking black, starting to get cold. And there's nothing out there, guys. You're not, you're just gonna, anyways, we were there for hours. And, we continued our investigation because we wanted to capture these fucking lights for you guys. And they never came out.
We, even to the point when we were done our ghosty investigation after we had seen the light, the Buck Hill light, after Ashley's daughter called daddy, daddy, daddy out the window, we pointed the car into the bush, the direction that they went in, because I was genuinely like, they're lost. They don't know how to get back. So in my head, I was like, if we shine the car lights into the bush, they're going to see them. Because it's so dark, you would see it light up and they'll know which way to come back. Well, we sat there for an hour and nobody came, nobody showed. It was very creepy.
I was ready to go.
Guys.
I was like, I gotta go. Like, there's a baby out there. What the fuck? But then, well, Chantal talked me off the ledge, but we are in a place and like, I know that like, maybe we'll get a little hate that we didn't go in, but like, what do we do in this moment?
No. There is no hate for us not going in because you cannot. I really, really need people to understand it's hundreds of acres of dense bush with no one around. Not a house, not a hunt camp, this is Crown land. Somebody might say, oh my God, well, you should have gone in there. Oh my God, well, you should have called someone. Oh my God, whatever. Guys, like who are we calling?
There's no service.
And there's no service. And what are we saying? We saw people?
Yeah. It was crazy and very alarming. And then also that little voice in the back of your head is like, did we see, like we had to rewind. So at certain points we were like, maybe we didn't, collectively, we all hallucinated and we didn't see these people. We went back in our footage because we're like, no, like this doesn't make sense. And then all of this folklore starts to fuck with you because you're like, maybe they weren't people. Maybe. So you start to really get in your head when you're in this thing.
We had figured out, we were going through every possible scenario. We were like, are they lost? Are they vampires? What are they?
Yeah. Is there some kind of ritual? Like, what the fuck?
Because it was weird.
I am a true believer in a lot of things. And I listen to this. It's a Catholic podcast. Anyways, and it's an actual exorcist. And I listen to his actual firsthand accounts of things that he's seen and experienced with people doing rituals and demonology and otherworldly creatures. And you can't deny what you're hearing. Like, I will die on my hill to say that there's shit out there that can't be explained. And this was a situation where we're alone. We have no service. My kid is with us. We're in pitch fucking black and we saw the lights. So there is something in that fucking bush. Yeah.
And you feel it. You feel it deep. Now, I was really spooked, but I truly believe it was because of the people. The people, it gave me such an uncomfortable, because I've said before on this podcast, I'm not afraid of what goes bump in the night. I'm afraid of human beings. Like, I don't like them at all. And I just kept, even when we were doing all of our, ghosty stuff, I just kept thinking, like, where are they? What are they doing? This is not gentle terrain. This is rough terrain for a 2-year-old. But anyways.
And I do want to clarify too, because people are probably thinking, well, if you saw lights, maybe they had a flashlight. They walked in the complete opposite direction of where we were.
Yeah.
So we debunked that as well. And they had nothing with them.
Nothing. Very, very creepy, very spooky. We're not going to share the video of them. We're not going to share. We did take a picture of the license plate because we were like, what if tomorrow we find out that there's a 2-year-old missing? Yeah. So we just kept those, but it was very creepy and very weird. Super weird. So back to the folklore of Buck Hill. So similar to us, people bring cameras, EMF meters, and all sorts of stuff up there. Now they leave with shaky phone footage and stories about dead car batteries and radios that cut out when the light appears. And we definitely had some weird things. So So we're in the bush, we come out of the bush, we decide, let's do the light thing. I go to start my car and it is not happening. And I'm freaking out because this is my nightmare. Again, because of the people. Like, not because of the ghost. Literally, I'm like, oh my God, we don't have a way out of here.
Yeah.
We're screwed. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, okay, so when we went, I grabbed a kitchen knife and Chantel put it in her pocket because, and we ran like a spirit box. So it throws out words, it throws out
not words,
but it's tried, true, it's tested. This is one of the best on the market that you can use, and said kitchen. Did it say kitchen knife?
House knife.
House knife. And Chantel was like, it was right after Chantel
Ashley's
put it in
daughter
her pocket.
Was so upset. She was like, oh my God, it knows.
There were other things it said. We run this thing all the time, and there are times it says nothing at all. When we were on Buck Hill, it was active. It said things like it seen us. There was 3 of us.
Yeah.
Looking, searching. It was wild. It was wild, but we will add it all so you can see the video.
Check out the video. So historians will tell you that there's actually no paper trail, no missing child report anyone's dug up, no obituary that cleanly matches the tale. And it's possible that the legend grew around the phenomena. People were already seeing these spook lights, or like the will o' the wisp stuff from Scotland. The kind of atmospheric weirdness that shows up all over the world, like we were talking about before with the vampires. In every culture all over the world, there are these stories that are the same but slightly different. And so some people say this is very similar. But this light does not look like headlights. This light does not look like any normal light. It looks alive. Like, it looks like it belongs to something. So there are dozens of versions of the origin. Some put it in the 90s. Some say the Depression years. Some say, like, I fully believe it was like late 1800s. But it's generally the same. A father is searching, the child is gone, the lantern keeps moving long after it should have gone dark. So is Buck Hill haunted?
I'm curious as well. Like, okay, so we have the story of this child. Now, if you combine the folklore of the vampires, that children are born, and there's actually an article that I read that when a child was born, they would have some kind of certain sack attached to them. And there were ways that they would so they would cut it off, and then in 7 years, the child would have to consume it. If this child was born with this extra thing, they would keep it, and then the child would eat it in 7 years.
Fucked up. Guys, don't make your kids eat anything from birth.
No.
7 years after they've been born. Just don't do that.
No, we're not doing that.
It's a bad vibe. Vibe. So that's the story of Buck Hill. Now, to round out this episode, I have another Ottawa Valley story that I want to tell. And we just listened to the Enfield poltergeist on Tuesday of this week. But now we have a Valley-centric one, which just makes it even all the more fun for us. The story I'm about to tell you made headlines in the Ottawa Journal in 1889 and the Ottawa Citizen in 1957 and 2014. It's September 14th, 1889, on a farm about 11 kilometers from Shawville on the Quebec side. So for those of you that don't know, the Ottawa Valley runs parallel to the province of Quebec. The Ottawa River separates the two provinces. So while you're in Ontario, you're looking over and you can see Quebec. However, Shawville and what was the other? Where did we used to get beer?
DuBose?
Yeah, but what was it called?
It's not Waltham.
Yeah, it is Waltham.
Okay.
Anyway, it becomes a part of the valley because you just hop over the bridge and then you're there.
And my family actually is from Shawville and the Island. Yeah.
The Dagg family consisted of Mom Susan, Dad George, 5-year-old Mary, 2-year-old Johnny, and their adopted daughter, Dinah, who was 11. Dinah had been adopted from Scotland, and the Daggs seemed to have some kind of foster home situation. They had just the core of their family, but they were always housing orphans and lost kids, which seems sweet. But even like today, I'm like, were you
Yeah.
doing it for the money? It kind of
Yeah.
seems like you were. In the morning, George had given Susan a $2 bill and a $5 bill. Now, that's well over $200 in today's Canada. So just keep that in mind. This was quite a bit of money for somebody to have, 1889.
Like a
He
lot of
had
money.
yeah, exactly. So George had said, put the bills in the dresser drawer, keep them safe, and Susan did just that. The next day, one of the orphan boys who was staying at the house, Dean, ran up to Mr. Dagg holding a crisp $5 bill. He said, I found it on the kitchen floor. George looked at it carefully and knew it was the same bill he had given his wife the day before. He runs in the house and goes to the drawer where the money had been and sees all of it is missing. Of course, they assume it was the orphan boy, so they go to his bed and they find the $2 bill tucked under his mattress. They yell at him, but he is dead set that he didn't do it. He's like, I swear it wasn't me. Why would I bring it to you if it
Yeah.
was me? And they're like, don't do that again. In the following days and weeks, more strange occurrences started happening. First, the milk buckets would be emptied when minutes before they were full. Then butter would go missing. It was there and now it's gone. But one of the most upsetting things was one day they woke up and someone had smeared poop from the outhouse all over their kitchen.
I could die.
Now, as someone who woke up this week to a sick dog, let me tell you, this is offensive to every sense that you have. It's very bad. And this enraged the Dags. Like, they were like, what the fuck? They were still suspecting Dean. So they did the only thing they knew how to do in the 1800s. They put him in jail.
A child?
I had to literally like do some research into this because I was like, what? And apparently you could take, especially an orphan child, but you could take your own child down to the sheriff and be like, he's out of control. You got to take him. And they would lock him up.
Listen, please don't come at me for this, but there have been days where I would have fucking hauled my kid to that fucking place and been like,
Right?
you deal with it.
Yeah, I'm not doing this. You take care of this. But surprise, surprise, the strangeness continued at the farm even though Dean was locked up. So now I will say that at least the Dags went back to the jail and they were like, it can't be Dean. It's still happening. So Dean was released from child prison, but not surprisingly, he chose not to go back to the farm ever again,
Yeah.
which, like, no shit. Back at the farm, things were escalating. Fires would start all at once, multiple fires, sometimes in the house, sometimes outside the house. One day, they watched 8 fires start simultaneously and they lost a pair of their curtains in the process.
Huh?
Which would terrify me. I just got to go out
Fire
and say,
scares me.
and fires everywhere. So you're just sitting there and all of a sudden there's 8 out of control fires burning both in your house and outside your house.
No.
No, don't like that. Then the windows started breaking, almost as though someone was throwing rocks at them. So one night, George has had enough and he's like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to go hide behind a tree and I'm going to wait and I'm going to see who is doing this because somebody is fucking with us. He states that as he hid, he watched the windows shatter on their own, no one around.
That's fucking terrifying.
I know. But this thing, whatever it was, had a favorite in the Dag home. And it was Dinah, their adoptive daughter.
It's always the little cutie kid.
I know.
Mostly girls. I feel like girls tend to be more, and it's not true. Like history has, like, there's been possessions and hauntings and things of boys as well, but like girls seem to be more targeted in a sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a vulnerability, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. It's very weird.
Yeah.
So it, like Dinah, one day she starts screaming. So everyone rushes to her. And she was like, something grabbed my ponytail. and pulled me onto the ground. So it had like grabbed her ponytail, yanked her onto the ground. And they're like, oh my God, like, are you okay? She stands up. They look closer. Her ponytail had been cut right off.
That's where I fucking draw the line.
Ash would be upset by this.
Like,
right?
Imagine fucking all of a sudden your hair's gone.
Yeah.
I don't have the fucking budget for that.
A few days after this occurrence, Dinah's grandmother and Dinah were in a bedroom tidying up. Grandma had her back turned when she heard Dinah shout, "Grandma, that big black thing is ruining the bed." The quilt, thick and heavy, lifted up and drifted down like a ghostly sail. Grandma had spun around, but there was nothing to see, only that the quilt was floating. And Grandma's a badass. Let me tell you why. And it was so funny when I was doing the research for this because I was like, this is every Valley grandma that I've ever heard
I was
of.
just about to say.
Grandma doesn't even take a beat. Instead, she reaches over, hands Dinah a bullwhip, which I'm like, why is there a bullwhip in the bedroom? And then I stopped asking questions about that.
We don't want to know.
And she says, "Strike him, child. Take courage. Strike him hard." So Dinah braces herself and cracks the whip into the air. The rest of their family, plus their neighbor, Arthur, who was there, rushed in to see what had happened, and then a piercing squeal like a pig echoed through the room. And like, I don't think I have to tell anybody this, but there was no pig. After that, the black shadow, whatever it was gone. Now, this did not deter our poltergeist.
No.
No, he just grew bolder after this. Beds were torn apart. Empty rocking chairs would rock themselves right across the room. Now, this one upsets me. A harmonica would play by itself in the dead of the night.
Fuck that shit. You know what?
I would be like, we're done here.
I can take fucking throwing shit around. I can take the fires even. But that, right over the edge.
No, ma'am. Absolutely not.
We got to go now.
One night, they woke up and scrawled in ink on the wall. It read, "You gave me 15 cuts."
Huh?
I guess from her whipping.
Did she?
As if that wasn't creepy enough, its voice was scratchy. It started speaking.
Like this.
Coming.
You gave me 15 cuts.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that.
And the Dags were super offended because it cursed at them. He said it was barnyard language. So basically, you and I.
Chantel and I are haunting the fucking Dag house.
We're the potty mouth girls, and we're here to stay. In 1957, in the Ottawa Citizen, Charles Harris, then 85, but only 15 back in the day, recalled how he once poked his head into a room to see what all the fuss was about. And this might be the most Valley story I've ever heard in my life, because suddenly a potato whizzed out and struck him in the head.
Welcome to the Valley. Even the ghosts are fucking hillbillies.
And then a voice screamed out, "Get out of there, Charlie Harris, you sneak, you." And part of me is like, are we sure that was the poltergeist and just not like Grandpa? Being like, "What are you looking at, Charles?" Because that sounds like Grandpa.
My mamere could be the fucking main character of this story.
Yeah, I know. There's so many parts of this where I'm like, we run deep in these stories. Like, this is literally who we are.
To give a little context about what I mean by this, my dad's mother, my mamere, was this French Métis woman. So she talked between like the Squamish and the French and English, and it was just kind of a jumble, depending if she was drinking or not. But anyways, she was a big woman. Yeah. My grandfather loved her dearly. They had 9 kids. And I remember when I told her I was expecting my first child, this was the whole conversation. "Mamere, I'm going to have a baby." And this fucking badass French Canadian woman looked at me and said, "Ashley," this is what she sounded like, "Ashley, the worst thing I ever did was have kids. I was going to be a model and they ruined my life." Meanwhile, she's been married for 65 fucking years. She has like fucking 50 grandchildren. We're all there, like, God. Our grandparents. And this fucking woman was like, "Fuck those kids."
Fuck these kids. Oh my
Oh,
God,
yeah.
that's so funny.
Very valley, very harsh, and they don't fuck around.
No,
These
no,
women
no,
were
there's
cut
none
from
of
a
that.
way different cloth.
So Daddy George has had enough. He's done. He's like, mm-mm. He finds a folk healer called the Witch of Plum Hollow, which I would like to be the Witch of Plum
I was
Hollow.
about to say, was it you at a past life?
I know. I'm like, this sounds legit. After a seance, she tells him the haunting is black magic, likely practiced by a neighboring widow and her 2 children aimed at Dinah. So they don't like Dinah.
What? So now just stop for a sec. So
Uh-huh.
because this woman was a widow living alone with kids, was she just instantly labeled as a witch?
Maybe it's possible,
Mm.
but it could also be a matter of maybe like Dinah was beautiful and maybe her girls weren't.
Mm.
Like maybe this is a Cinderella thing. So back at the farm, George and Susan go over to talk to Mrs. Wallace. They're like, hey, some shit's been going down at the farm. We know that you're a witch. So Mrs. Wallace denies everything. She's like, I'm going to come over. I'm going to have dinner with you guys. We're going to do all sorts of things. But Mrs. Dagg, she, because this was now all around town. People were talking about this in Shawville. And Mrs. Dagg heard from a few different sources that she should kill a black lamb, boil its blood with needles. That's how you bring out the witch. Mrs. Wallace allegedly came to the fence asking questions, though Mrs. Dagg insisted she had to take the pot off the stove because the minister arrived, which I'm like, this is the most chaotic day I have ever heard in my life.
So
like, what? So she boils the stuff and Mrs. Wallace shows up at the fence. So then she's like, you are the witch because I did the things that they told me to do to pull out the witch and you show up.
Yeah.
On November 14th, 1899, a painter-journalist, Percy Woodcock, journeyed to their farm. He was one of many curious seekers because I'd be going to this farm.
Mm-hmm.
The Daggs asked him to come back the next day. Dinah was away visiting a friend. When he returned, Woodcock asked if the spirit had shown itself. Dinah said yes, it was in the shed. He went in and called, "Are you here, mister?" Which again, the valley.
You're killing me.
And a growl answered, "Grrr," though nobody was in sight. Woodcock pressed, asking who. The voice then snarled, "I am the devil. I'll have you in my clutches. Get out of this or I'll break your neck."
You're a really good devil.
Woodcock, Matt would agree. Woodcock reported that such profanity might scare children, but not him. The voice hurled insults in reply. Over hours, they spoke in front of witnesses. The spirit claimed no real hate for the Daggs except for Dinah and insisted the wrongdoings were none of his concern. So suspicion briefly fell on Dinah because they're like, what'd you do?
Yeah.
Why does a demon from hell hate you? And they did the test that we heard about in the Enfield poltergeist. So they put water in her mouth and covered her mouth and the voice was still there. So they were like, okay, so it's not Dinah playing tricks on us. This is legit. This case has gone down in Ottawa Valley history, and there's a whole bunch of other reports that came out of the Dagg farm, and it ended up being called the Dagg poltergeist. In 1957, the Ottawa Citizen interviewed the Yak family, who was then living there, and they said there was no paranormal activity. But in 2014, the Lombards, who had been there since 1984, reported ghostly footsteps in the attic, a girl in white drifting through the stairs or kitchen, and scratching from above. But there was no potty mouth. There was no cursing or anything like that. So when old folks sit around the bonfire on a Saturday night and they're talking about the old days and the old stories, there is a constant debate between whether the Daggs poltergeist or the Daggs thing is a demon or maybe it was an angel. Was it a restless ghost or a witch's tool? Did the haunting really end in 1899 or is it still there, just kind of muffled by new technology and more noise?
So I honestly think that if an entity is attached to a person, maybe it
Mhm.
left when Dinah left. Or I do know that witchcraft can do some pretty neat things. Was this simply a witch trying to scare the family?
I know, where I'm like, okay, so I think there's a lot here.
The Ottawa Valley is a fucked up place. And I'm
It's
going to
so
tell you
fucked up.
why.
You tell me why.
You have military, one of Canada's biggest military bases. You have the loggers. You
Mhm,
have Wilno. You
mhm,
have, still to this day in Douglas, not far from Wilno, we still have a full Mennonite community.
mhm,
So there are so many layers to this area and so many beliefs and so many, different things. And I feel like that in itself brings energy.
mhm, mhm. It's so interesting because the Ottawa Valley was this melding pot just of different cultures where, we've got in Mixburg, the Irish came and settled. We've got Wilno. We've got areas where the Scottish settled, where the English settled. And so where the Germans settled, like they came from all over the
And a
place.
ton of natives. We've got
Mhm.
the native reserve there. So there's so
Yeah.
much power and energy. And I think
Yeah.
when you have all of this, because I believe there is no wrong belief, and I believe that every belief has its own power.
Yeah.
You throw all that into one giant pot,
Exactly.
shit's gonna happen.
Exactly. Agreed 100%. So that was our Halloween episode about all creepy deaky things from the Ottawa Valley where we grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for listening. Guys, thank you for a year of listening. Whether you've been listening to us from the very beginning or you just started catching up on episodes now, we appreciate each and every one of you. We couldn't be here without you. We look forward to our second year and to bringing you more stories and doing more fun things. We'd love to go on tour at some point. We're going to be starting to do interviews with different people in the community. So stay tuned. Thank you for your support. We love you all, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Bye.
Bye.